I'm very thrilled and excited to be here with Kate. And Kate, we just got to know each other, right? We've been speaking for a few days.
It's been really fun.
It's been amazing, yes. I've learned a lot, I've learned a lot from you as well. So this session, what are we going to talk about this session? It's going to cover 3 areas. We've done a lot on F1, which is brilliant, right? Because we're here for F1 with sports marketing. It was a great session there. You did take a few of my questions, but that's okay. But I think what I want to do is really look at, the theme of this session is about acceleration of innovation. And what better partner than Lenovo, right? So it's broken into 3 parts. We're going to talk a little bit about sports marketing, right, as a topic. I'd love to go a little bit deeper on how it aligns very much with global strategy and regional markets, right? How that brings that together. And then we also really want to emphasize and kind of drive how it hits upon community with AI. So those are the 3 pieces that we're going to kick off with. But before we even kick off, you did a brilliant job in your last panel.
Thank you.
So
I told him he had to listen closely because I knew there would be duplication. So I think things are going to change, and
we are going to change
things,
but it's going to be good. So we're going to get to know Kate a little bit more, right? So rapid fire questions, and then I'm going to hear about your background. How's that sound? So
that's good.
First 3 questions, very fast. What right now as a podcast? What's in your queue?
Okay, I've been listening to music mostly because I'm trying to get back into running, and you cannot run at the pace of someone speaking or you're not running. But up until then, I was listening to podcasts, and I would say for like Mindless Fun, Smartless, for news, Trevor Noah, or Today Explained, and then for tech news, I do Pivot with Kara Swisher and Scott Galloway.
Excellent, very cool. There's a BPM thing.
Oh, yes.
Have you done that?
Absolutely.
It's crazy, right? So
yes.
When you can measure you put a BPM number in Spotify and you can run to it.
Yes, so I have playlists from my past when I was actually a decent jogger that's like 160, 170 BPM, and I'm like, I don't know what I am anymore, so now it's just kind of random.
Yeah, so if you haven't tried it, try that at home. It's brilliant. But be careful, you have a bad heart. So the second question, we are in Vegas, right? Come on. Who's already played the tables? Come on. First thing in the morning, I know. It's like, So we're at the tables, casino. What is your favorite casino game?
Okay, so 10 years ago I played them all. Blackjack, 3-card poker, craps, and so now I want to say you'll find me at the dinners and the bar, but I'll probably end up at the craps table.
Wow.
It depends on how loud they are. Like, if it looks really fun, you can't really resist.
It's a fast game. I can't play it. I still need to learn that. That's a complicated game. I just throw it on there. I'm like, close my eyes and people scream at me.
Just do the basics.
Okay.
Don't worry about the fancy stuff.
Good idea. So, final question. This is something we've talked a lot about F1 and sports marketing, and obviously, great congratulations on FIFA. That's amazing. Well,
I had nothing to do with it. I'm just the lucky beneficiary.
But they couldn't pet us so well. We are passionate soccer fans.
Yes.
Would you say that?
Absolutely.
Pretty close, yeah. To the point where Kate explained to me, if I'm British, right? So British Indian, whatever. And she actually said, Ariff, please, soccer actually comes from England. The word soccer. It's not football, it's soccer. Did you all know that?
This is absolutely true.
It's true, right? Yeah. Does anyone want to know this? Should I share the story?
I think you should tell the story because he fact-checked it.
I had
so
to fact-check it. All right, bollocks, I don't believe it. I do not believe it. So I fact-checked it. And guess what? So apparently... wow, that was loud. Was that me? Yeah, I got so excited. It was super loud. Anyway, I'll put it over there. Apparently in England, I'll whisper the story. In the 1800s, they were playing with they would call soccer rules or football rules, right? It'd be the National Football Association. So people would play with those rules. And they're basically, Brits like to take the first syllable and put an ER behind it, right? So association, the word association, they couldn't actually do the ASCR, right? Because this kind of sounds weird. So they moved it up to the SO, which became soccer. And so words like rugby became rugger, champagnes became this is just a play on words, right? And so it actually originated from the UK.
But it didn't stick there. And now they make fun of us and say that it's football.
It's good, isn't it? You flip it around. So on that note, who's in the audience? Anyone follow MSL? Maybe, yes? There's one person. MLS, sorry.
MLS.
See, that's the thing about soccer. There's so many different layers of associations. You can't engage with all.
Thank you. Great. How do we get that acronyms right? So someone in the back there. Who's your team?
MLS?
Yeah.
LFC.
Oh, very good. And who is your team?
My favorite team overall is All In Sugar Hill U11 Academy Gold. I particularly like this little player named Finn. He's extremely talented, and someday he's going to play for La Liga.
Right.
But my real professional team is Atlanta United, and they're in the quarterfinals this weekend. So
It's a very important weekend. I'm a huge NYCFC fan. They're playing tomorrow, right, against Red Bull. Big deal. I do have it's kind of a gift for you, but I don't know whether you're going to use it or not, or wear it. But I might make a deal with you.
okay.
Because
This is
I'm
unexpected.
actually, if they win, obviously that's great. They get forward.
If
right?
New York wins, or
Yeah, NYCFC wins, then we
Okay.
play Atlanta,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
But if we don't, I will root for Atlanta,
Oh, I like that.
right? Because
Yes.
we're out. But then this is who you have to root for tomorrow. There you go. You're going to wear that tomorrow.
Thank you.
Is that fair? That's a fair
This
deal,
is
right?
awesome.
NYCFC, all right. So,
I'm gonna put it in the bag.
that's fine. That's okay. You don't have to wait for the next 3 days. I won't ask you to do that. But you have a proper team. It's been really fun watching them. You beat Miami.
Yeah.
Crushed Messi. I'm sorry. Come on. I mean, you guys, that was one of the best games I've ever seen. So, moving on, like we could talk about this for hours,
Well,
right?
I'm actually really excited because I think we can all meet at the bar and watch soccer tonight, and that'll keep me away from the other activities.
That's
not engaging.
Yes, the game tomorrow night, yes. So, you've had an amazing career. I mean, I'm not just saying that, but you've fundamentally done a lot of stuff, right? You had 17 years in the agency side. You've done, now going on to 6 years, right? Onto the
Yes.
client side.
Yeah.
So, I'd love to hear from the audience. I mean, a lot of folks, we see this shift in a lot of things happening in our industry, right? Where you see, I'll just throw in some stats here, agencies, agency holding companies, their billings are going down, right? Independents are kind of somewhat flat, and a lot of the business is moving direct to client, right? And so the spends are picking up there. So just from that perspective, I'd love to get, how do you, just some insights that you have from both ends. Those are very unique experiences and a very fast, furious category of technology.
So in-housing is definitely a trend. The ANA does a report on it every 5 years. The last one was 2023. I think 92% of organizations have in-house services, creative or media, to some extent. But that's not why I went from the ad agency side to client side. My reasons were personal. So I was with Interpublic for 17 years, and I feel like I had so many different careers, like a real diversity throughout those years. I was part of a team in Minneapolis that managed all media for General Mills for 7 years. Then I moved to Shanghai, and I started up a media discipline within an existing office. Then I went to Hong Kong to take that regional. Then I came back to the States, and I built teams in Princeton and New York. And I loved working for the agency. I've been in media my whole career. I loved it. But when you get to a certain level, they want to use you more for new business than for the clients that you have. And I got to a point where I was on the road every single week. And I had a 3 and a 7-year-old at home who didn't see mom very much. And so I knew I had to look for a different opportunity that would allow me to be at home more. But I didn't want to compromise my career at all. So I got incredibly lucky. After a few months of living, I got this opportunity with Lenovo. So I knew a lot of parents who had left the ad agency long before I did, and they said they got what they wanted in terms of work-life balance, but they felt bored. The client-side gigs were not as exciting as they've grown accustomed to agency side. So I was super lucky because going to Lenovo, my job crosses everything B2B, B2C, which includes gaming, creatives, and then corporate brand, which includes sports marketing. So there's still just a ton of variety. And for me, I wanted to work just as hard as ever. I wanted to be challenged. I wanted to be excited. I just wanted to reduce the travel. And that's exactly what I got.
That's amazing. And I mean, also, you work with Assembly, right? Which is one of my businesses, right? And I mean, we work with those guys. They're amazing as a team, right? So you gotta see the best of two worlds, right? How do you balance those two? Because you're sitting, you know what's going on there, right? On the agency side. On the creative side, and then you're sitting on the client side where it's technology and innovation is moving fast, right? Accelerating on innovation. How do you kind of, what's the recipe there to kind of balance that out?
I am a huge fan of this hybrid model where you have people who, I mean, I think everyone on my team was agency side for probably 10 plus years before they came into the Lenovo Global Media COE. And so we have people on the inside who know exactly what it's like to be on the outside. We maintain ties to an agency for many reasons: expandable bandwidth, specialized skill sets that are becoming trends that we want to take advantage of, but maybe we don't want to quite hire those specialists full-time in-house yet. They're on the front lines with the media companies, data companies every day. They can bring new ideas from across clients. But what's so valuable about building a team in-house is the proximity we have to people who have expertise and knowledge we need to move forward, but agencies they can't typically penetrate the organization deeply enough. So these are people like in marketing operations who take our global media investments and dole them out to the markets. The agency doesn't have that relationship, but I do. So we all work together, and then we can have influence over how those budgets are distributed so that we're optimizing ROAS for the company. Other examples are like, when I was agency side, a client would just send over a PDF and be like, we have a new segmentation, make use of this segmentation. But now we get to work with the Insights COE to develop all of the questionnaires, to do the research to inform the segmentation. We can make sure that when you get those personas, you don't think to yourself, oh, this is really nice for a creative person, but for a media person, these characteristics, I can't map these into any of the platforms that we use in media. So on the inside, we're able to drive change that you just can't drive when you have all of your services external, because like I said, those people, the distance is just too far from all the people within the organization.
And I may have missed this. Do you keep your data? Do you bring your data in-house? Or is that still sitting with your agencies?
So all of the data is transferred to us. We have a global taxonomy that's in use across our creative agencies, our media agencies. The data is collected. We have a global ad server. We also get metrics from our social media accounts, Walled Gardens. That's all pulled in internally at Lenovo so that we have our data. And then we have our own data visualization tools, et cetera.
Amazing. So, I mean, it's just like a titration of how you balance that out there. And we've seen, we heard a lot of, and I'll go into a few more announcements, a lot of announcements that we'll go into about Lenovo specifically, we'll touch on to. But there was one that came out a few months ago. And Andrew, you there? Where's Andrew? There he is, Andrew. So, congratulations on winning the Established Mom, She Runs It.
I thought you were talking about Lenovo Awards, and I'm like, what is he going to say?
I think that's pretty amazing. And for those that don't know what it means, do you mind if I...
Sure.
Yeah, so I looked this up because I had to be fact-checked. So this means basically the individual, BK, she's someone who strives on her busy life, on a busy life, and has a positive impact with other working mothers, with management skills and strategy across the board. So that's what that means. And so a round of applause again, because that's pretty good. On that note, it's really important. Like we talk about work-life balance, right? You have beautiful children at home, right? So how do you manage that?
I don't have it all figured out yet. I'm going to call it what it is. I have a great friend and colleague who spearheaded the effort, and she called in people that I've worked with for 20 plus years to write letters on my behalf. These letters were incredible. The person that they described, I'd like to meet her because I do not have it all figured out yet. It is the concept. I appreciate that everyone recognizes the effort that I make in both places. Parenting, it's ridiculous. You can never be the best at it because by the time you're like ready to deal with them in this stage, they move to the next one. So my 14-year-old has a girlfriend, so I'm like walking around the house, making sure all the doors are open. It's always something new. I promised her parents that I would, but what they don't realize is it's not my son they need to be worried about. So, but okay, so two things that I would pass along. So one is for working parents who are finding it hard to keep up with all of the demands, just make your needs known. Know what you need out of your workplace to be successful in both places. So for me, it took me a long time to realize what I should. I mean, I was on the road for a couple of years nonstop before I actually stopped being complacent and decided to take action. But just know what it is that needs to change for you to be successful and happy in both of those places. So for me, it was simple. It was just a reduction in travel. And now I travel only 7 or 8 times a year, and I love it every time. It's the perfect amount. But I'm at home for my kids most of the time. And we all have to make those requests known in the workplace because we don't know how flexible companies can be if we're not asking for it. And then for people, you're probably more the leaders who have to entertain requests like this, or even try to solicit requests like this to make sure that you know what your team members need and that you're considering and providing it. If you do, you're going to have access to a much wider talent pool. I've seen so many people leave our industry for less fulfilling careers, and that shouldn't be happening. If we can be more flexible, we keep more of them in our teams, and then we also, I think, just instill loyalty in our teams because we show that we care and that we're helping to meet their needs. And then the second thing is just outsource, delegate, accept help. Because for so many years, I was like, I can do it all myself. I don't need help. I'm going to do it all myself. And I don't know who was winning. I think, I was tired. I was cranky.
It's hard to stop, isn't it, when you're on that rock? I mean, I get that because you're doing so much, but it's like you know how to get it done. It's very hard to pull back, right?
It's true. It's true. So now my 14-year-old is, he has full responsibility for emptying and filling the dishwasher. So that's one thing I got off my plate. My parents are my kids' personal Uber drivers.
Right.
So just like, I don't know why I was so stubborn, but I see other people do it too. And I think you have to accept help. And I think kids should be raised by a village because none of us know how to do it perfectly. So why shouldn't they be exposed to totally different parenting styles and benefit from that? I'm hedging my bets.
I think the whole, remote first is a good thing.
Yes, of course.
Yelp has been, our founders have been very much driven by that. And we find that our product, we after the pandemic, we had our offices open, 1% went back, our productivity was up, and because people are at home, it's really shown that. And the talent that we can get now is phenomenal. It's like phenomenal.
They can be anywhere.
Oh my God,
yeah.
it's the thing.
We'll hire
rock stars.
People wherever they live. I just say, we need you to try to work the closest you can to East Coast hours.
Yeah.
But you can live in any time zone you want if you can still make the calls.
Yeah, it's amazing. So we're shifting gears back to our topic of acceleration of innovation, right? I think the past couple of months have been pretty amazing for Lenovo. I mean, a lot of things have been going on. We talked about a few things earlier in the earlier panel, but just simple things like getting Fast Company #1 for global innovation, right? The #1 company, and it beat AI companies, which is really interesting, for innovation, right? Which you're the central. Yeah, and I thought that was really cool. And then obviously the FIFA announcement, right? So we talked about that with the fact that the soccer ball, the data in the soccer ball, I think is amazing.
The technology starts right inside the ball.
Yeah, and I've noticed even when I'm watching the games now, I want to know the stats, right?
Okay.
That wasn't a football thing in the past, right? It's now become a thing. So you would say?
Oh,
okay. Right. So, but the third big announcement was it was the Innovation World. I think it was this month or last month, where you had obviously AI PC, right? All of these laptops coming out with AI, and that was the ThinkPad, the ThinkBook. Oh my God, I can't speak today. It must be.
I can help.
ThinkPad. Yes, the products that they were doing, all the products that were AI compatible, which is pretty amazing.
So we actually announced more than 40 AI-driven products, I think, at CES last year. I'm becoming more and more familiar with them now because they're available and for everyone to purchase, and so we're starting to put more and more media investment behind them. I think what you might be talking about that we recently announced were the Aura Edition products. There's ThinkPad, ThinkBook, Yoga. There's Aura Editions imagined with Intel. So this was a special partnership with Intel. These products have incredibly cool, they make really cool experiences available to us that were not in the past. I'll just give an example of one. People within the Apple ecosystem, they believe that they have to stay within that ecosystem because their phone and their laptop work seamlessly together. That's a major challenge for PC companies in competing with Apple. But one of the features of the Aura Edition PCs is that if you have an Android phone or an Apple phone, it doesn't matter. There's more seamless sharing of content between those computers, so you don't find yourself doing really stupid stuff like emailing yourself a photo from your phone so that you can open up the email and grab that photo and use it on your laptop.
Yeah, that's a game changer right there, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, when I told my dad's like, that's amazing. That is a game changer. Just don't screw up the marketing.
That's bad. So no, really exciting stuff that's happening, and on that sort of cusp of innovation is what we're seeing here. So, in this room here, I mean, we've always come to these events. AI has always been a top subject. We're either worried about our jobs, right? Worried about what's going on, right? There's always these kind of concerns, but it becomes very much a utility, right? So, I mean, just a show of hands. I mean, I wouldn't say who's not using AI. That would be mean. But who is using AI right now in some sort of productivity, right? I mean, yeah, right. I mean, and if you're not, I don't know what to say. No, just kidding. But it's becoming ubiquitous, right? We're using it in our day-to-day. And a lot of the use cases that we see are around productivity, utilities, improving our jobs. So in the topic of community innovation is the one that we wanted to touch. And I just wanted to share with you, there's 2 videos that we want to share. The first one, maybe you want to talk to it?
Yeah, I can give a little bit of intro. So again, I manage our global media strategies together with my team and the agency. So what I see most is creative that shows what's possible when you use our AI PCs. So we're talking to people who are creative. They're mixed media artists. They are doing animation, fashion design, architecture, whatever. And that's in the media. And we're showing, how AI can take their creativity or their gaming or whatever their passion is to the next level. But there's work that we're doing in AI that I'm even more proud of, or proud to be associated with a company that does this. And we typically don't put a lot of media investment behind this, which is why I like to tell people about it myself, because I think that it deserves a wider audience. So Lenovo partners with nonprofit organizations and then other technology companies to put together solutions that can address real issues and improve the quality of life for different communities. So we have some amazing stories that you would only find out about through a bit of press or by going to Story Hub, and I brought a couple of them to share.
Perfect. Thank you for the intro. So we'll do the first one and the second one.
My name is Gabriel. I'm a software engineer from Brazil. And I've used sign language my entire life to connect with my friends and family. Now, Lenovo is working to help me connect with anyone, anywhere.
In Brazil, over 2.3 million people, just like Gabriel, depend on Libras, the Brazilian sign language for communication.
Can you imagine a world where they can communicate with anyone in any language, even with those who cannot read or are visually impaired?
We began developing a real-time translation tool from Brazilian Sign Language to Portuguese that allows people to gesture to the camera while an algorithm provides simultaneous translation. We have engaged dozens of deaf and hard of hearing individuals throughout this process and recorded thousands of hours of people using sign language. We have processed all this material through Lenovo servers to train an artificial intelligence capable of performing this task.
This technology opens many doors for people like me who rely on sign language to communicate. It's a huge step forward for our community. But I want to tell you all this in person.
He's not here.
I know, we just flew him in. So
That was a video that we played at Tech World in October, and he walked on stage and continued the presentation.
it's amazing, right? I always think about ChatGPT. I don't think this way. There's so much more to that. I know we're under time pressure, but I know Jason. That's good.
Oh,
because you want to show the next one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll give a little bit of intro
Yeah.
for this. So we worked with the Scott Morgan Foundation, whose focus is on ALS, and some other technology companies. and a woman who had just been diagnosed with ALS. This is almost 2 years ago, I think. She was 24. And so we started working with her at a time when the condition had not really set in. She hadn't started to lose her ability to communicate, but we know that the deterioration can come quick. And one of the first things that happens for some people is that they lose their ability to communicate as they have prior to having the condition. So we started working with her and developed a solution where her voice was recorded, and it's not like, by using AI, it's not just translating what she has to say into her voice, but it no longer sounds as robotic. The AI can predict where her voice would rise and fall in her own rhythm of speech, and can make it come out to people, her family and friends, in a way that sounds like she did before the problem. So that was a couple of years ago. She was at Tech World on stage to talk with our audience, but we've helped many more people with ALS at this time. So I'm going to show you a video of a different man who's been involved in the program.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you
Today,
are.
I can speak to my kids. I can sing them a lullaby. I can read them a story. And I can tell them I love them. But soon, ALS will take my voice.
The ability for us to sing lullabies and tell stories allows us to create an emotional connection with our loved ones.
I think a parent's voice is really vital for the relationship.
ALS is a neurodegenerative disease that causes people to lose their motor function and ability to speak. There is no known cure. Artificial intelligence is a game changer. When IMR wants to speak, he uses his eyes to select pre-selected words on a circular keyboard. He can then output those words using his own generated AI voice.
My avatar is almost as handsome as I am.
He can choose to hear and see his words spoken by a hyper-realistic avatar.
The giant woke up from his slumber and shouted, "Fee, fi, fo, fum!" Jack started climbing down the beanstalk as fast as he could, and the giant chased him.
Our motivation for Smarter AI for All is to empower all of us to use the technology to make our worlds better.
Technology is my best hope. And with the advances of AI, I have a chance to sing happy birthday to my children for many years to come, and possibly even toast at their weddings.
Lenovo, Lenovo.
I can't stand that. It's so good, right? So, yeah. Kate sent me that at 1 a.m, and I watched it. I'm like, oh my god, I'm crying. It's ridiculous. But it's amazing. It really is amazing work. We need a moment. No, totally. I mean, it really chokes me up. Isn't it cool though? It's like, I always think of AI as, we were so sort of funneled in what we're doing that day to day, but we forget about the community aspect, right? Accelerating innovation for sign language and for challenging, diseases, right? It's amazing. And when I heard about a digital twin, I didn't quite understand it. It didn't really grasp me as like, why should, that sounds weird. It's like Second Life kind of stuff. But this type of application is just it's priceless, right? So.
And the scale of technology like this is incredible. We've started with certain use cases. We just published one 2 days ago. Our chief marketing officer talked about it on LinkedIn. You can find it at Lenovo Story Hub. But some of the same technology is being used to help people with mental health issues who just are not comfortable having the conversations they need to have with people in their family or friends, and so they use digital twins to do it. There's 500 million people in the world who are unable to communicate effectively because of a disorder that they suffer from. And I think they're all candidates to be helped with digital twins, with voice, with all of the technology that we just showed. So I think it's just the beginning.
Yeah. It's amazing. So your company is very involved. That's right. In this kind. Are there more things to come that you're seeing that you can share, or is it still very?
No, I gave you everything I
You
had.
did. Okay.
The mental health one was 2 days ago, so that's like hot off the press.
How do you keep up? That's a lot of stuff, right? Happens with I just think about all the
Yes.
things that you're doing, right? You've got obviously F1, FIFA, the community. How do you keep all that like on track?
Well, I have a team. One of them's here. Rebecca's here. and the agency, we really work as one, and we shift work among us based on where the talent resides, based on bandwidth to an extent. We're really working as one team. Right now, I mean, we all have our heads down on CES.
Yeah.
Because even though it seems like it's far away, there are holidays coming, and all of a sudden we're all going to be there.
Yeah, no, it's going to be big. Are you guys doing anything there? Are you speaking or?
Maybe.
Okay, right. So
All that's in the works right now. I mean, as a company, of course, we have press briefings, we have hospitality, there's a whole bunch of stuff.
Excellent. So, just now wait for time. Okay, so one final question then. So, just throughout your career, you've done some amazing stuff. But let's look back this year with all the things that you're saying. What are you most proud of from this year's perspective, and what are you excited about for next?
I think that we've really caught the attention of the executives with this hybrid model that we've been working on for a few years now. I think in the ANA report, most of the companies that participated said their primary reason for in-housing was cost efficiency. And of course, I bet that is the primary point that people make when they're trying to build a business case and sell it to executives, that we need to start hiring people in-house. But I think the real benefit of in-housing is much greater than that. It's improved quality and improved marketing performance. And now our execs are recognizing the ways in which we're contributing, that we don't have to have that discussion about how we're saving money anymore. They want to invest because they're seeing the impact that we can have on marketing and then ultimately sales.
Excellent, great. It's been a pleasure being up here with you. I know, we could spend hours talking here. But I do want to open up to any questions, if there's anyone that wants to ask Kate. Oh, we have one in the corner there.
Yeah.
Yes, sir?
Congratulations. I mean, that's incredible work. I think you guys are really in that space in AI. And then just kind of switching that over to the sports realm and commercial, the work you do with F1 and this FIFA element. Where do you see that coming into play in the future of the integration of AI in these properties you look forward to?
So every year, I become aware of two major stories that we've developed together with our sports marketing partners. So each year with F1, we focused on one place where our technology has been integrated and it has driven change within F1 and improvement. So this can be things like what's happening in the broadcast room to get the race in Silverstone to fans throughout the world. Or it can be a logistics story about how they're making use of our servers and infrastructure and how portable it is and how they get to all the races around the world. I don't know what the two stories are going to be for next year, because those don't come to me until probably February for the next race season. For FIFA, I mean, we just announced that partnership 1 month ago. So there's very little information available to me or throughout the organization. All I know is that there's 7 major challenges in discussion right now and solutions being developed. And I'm sure AI is going to be a huge part of it.
So, one quick one? Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, just curious a little bit. Obviously, Lenovo is one of the biggest brands in the world, but how does Lenovo either partner or learn from emerging startups or challenger brands to innovate?
Are you trying to set up an appointment with me? Yeah, so I'm gonna talk about what I see in my corner of a humongous company. The agency gives us, the agency brings so many new ideas and innovations to our attention, because Assembly is part of Stagwell, and Stagwell owns many other agencies. That's how I met Talent and Grand Visual. We try to meet with each other, with all types of companies, not just the biggies with whom we're already spending considerable investments. All of our competitors are too. So the smaller media properties, data providers, technologies, those are super interesting to us. We would love for the opportunity to get in early, test, and scale if we find success. So we're a small but mighty team. We're super busy, but it is something that we prioritize is meeting with new and interesting companies.
And that plays that sort of positioning of like your background in the agency is how you play well, like how you kind of center that out, right? Because like they have a lot of great ideas, it's hard to keep up, right? So you have at least some sort of
Yeah, I mean, your in-house agency is always going to be much smaller in number of people than what the agency has, and so we have to gather ideas from all of those places.
Kate, it's been great having you up here. Really enjoyed this.
I've enjoyed it too.
Great. I think a round of applause for Kate.